Today we're going to pot up some more of the Paperwhite bulbs, and I thought I would show you how I do it. I potted this one up 2 to 3 weeks ago, and it's growing really well. It even has some blooms getting ready to come. I've washed up my vases. I've had these a long time. They're just square glass vases, and I really like how they look. Sometimes I'll use a wooden container. This one has a plastic waterproof insert and it holds lots of bulbs. I've also washed my gravel. I'm just using black aquarium gravel. I'm going to spread 1 to 2 inches in the bottom. This will provide room for the roots to grow. I want to make sure I've got it in the corners as well. I purchased my Paperwhite bulbs back in October. I look for bulbs that have nice brown paper husks and are nice and firm. I also look for signs of growth in the bulb. Hello, Mushu. Are you going to help today? Well, as you can see, I have lots of help. I'm going to nestle the bulbs down into the gravel. I'll turn the curve of new growth towards the center of the vase. Hopefully, when they grow, they'll curve towards the center and won't flop outwardly quite so much. I want to use the bulbs that show the most growth first. I'm just going to push this down into the gravel a little bit. Go on. I'm going to put this bulb in the center. This is a nice looking bulb. I'm going to put it here in the corner. These square containers usually fit 5 bulbs. The smaller one does 4. If you purchase a kit of Paperwhites at the grocery or hardware store, the bulbs tend to be a bit smaller and they don't usually have quite as many flower shoots. So I really prefer going to the garden center and getting the bigger bulbs. Now I'm going to take some of my clean gravel and sprinkle it over the top. The reason I do this is because I found the roots are so strong while they're growing that they push the bulb up and dislodge it. So I like a little bit of gravel covering, but I don't need a lot. The next step is to add a little bit of water. Hello, Finn. You're going to help too, huh? Come on. Not the place for kitties. I want the water to come just to the bottom of the bulbs. I don't want them to sit in water. I have just a little bit of tepid water. I add it slowly and it takes a bit to spread out across the pot. One of the nice things about these glass containers is that I can see the water level. I can see it right about there, which should be right at the bottom of the bulbs. I'll leave it like that. Once planted, I'll place the container of bulbs in a cool room in bright light. They shouldn't need watered again until they start to grow. Add water once it falls below the bottom of the bulbs, but don't add so much that they actually sit in water. This can cause them to mold or rot. Once the buds are full, bring them out where you would like to enjoy them, adding water as before. To prolong the life of the blooms, they shouldn't get too hot or be placed in direct sunlight. The shoots are really yellow right now, but it won't take too long and they will start to green up and straighten up. Let me pull this out and show you. This pot has been growing for a little over a week and you can see the roots starting to grow and spread out in the gravel. In this one you can see the root growth as well. To care for them, I watch the water level on them. When it gets all the way down, the tops can get a little floppy. I try to add water before that, maintaining it at the base of the bulbs. If they dry out, the flower buds will dry out and they won't ever open. Once they are blooming, they can get a little top heavy and flop over. If that happens, I take a bit of ribbon, often a pretty Christmas ribbon, and tie a loose bow around the stems. This is just a bit of ribbon I had close by. This adds a bit of support and it helps to keep them from flopping over. This pot should be blooming within a week, maybe sooner. The buds are getting pretty full. Paperwhites are a narcissus. They are in the same family as daffodils. If you like the scent of daffodils, these are a little more powerful. I really love the smell. It reminds me of a greenhouse, but some people find it overwhelming. A lot of times I'll come into the house and I'll think, what is that smell? And then I'll realize that the Paperwhites have bloomed. The primary variety is called Ziva, and there is another one called Inbal. Its fragrance isn't quite so strong, but I also find the bulbs are not quite as vigorous as Ziva. In Colorado, the Paperwhites can't grow outside. They're grown only for forcing indoors. However, if you live in zones 8 through 10, you can grow them outside. Once the bulbs are done blooming, they've used up all their resources and they won't bloom again. I usually put them in the compost pile if I have one going, or in the trash. To store the bulbs before they're ready to plant, I keep them in a paper bag. Then I put this paper bag under my kitchen sink in a dry, dark corner, and that helps keep them from growing too fast, so that I can stagger the planting of several pots over several weeks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this episode interesting and that you'll try growing some Paperwhites in the future. I really love having them blooming inside in the middle of winter. I like to have them blooming from Christmas all the way through January and sometimes even into February. See you tomorrow!